Hello and welcome back to the Smite North American Regional Championships. My name is Tom F. Baddinger. This time joined by Scott Gandhi and DM Brandon. How are you guys doing?
Averagely.
Yeah, that's standard DM.
All right,
I'm doing awesome. I'm doing awesome.
All right, you know, it's standard DM. Every time I ask him this question on one of these things, he gives me the averagely. But you just watched 3 explosive games, and your answer is still that? Can you give me the truth?
All right, real quick. I'm pretty good. Meditation was built. I'm pretty good.
You know, this is the worst part about that, right? Like, Divio's crushed with Hercules and meditation, and now I got to hear this guy just like, oh, yeah, I'm so right.
For you fans at home, unfortunately, you weren't able to join here with us today.
And it's awesome.
You missed the thing you missed the most. When the camera goes dark, you get to see a lot of stuff. DM Brandon turned around and started screaming at Divios, I love you. You built meditation on Hercules. I love you. These are the things you miss. You got to come here.
It's been a killer weekend so far. You know, there was a ton of hype in Europe. You know, we had so many huge games. And
incredible.
Instead, this time, it's just been domination, domination, domination. We have 2 more sets today, one of which is, of course, going to be Complexity, you know, newly sponsored, formerly the Snipe guys, and going up against Prime. But we're going to talk a little bit more about what we just saw.
Yeah, I think for me, looking at it, like, I had Dignitas taking it in, like, a 3-1 fashion. Yeah, 3-1, 3-2, like, nothing crazy. And it's because, as personalities, casters, people of like the scene, when you watch Team Scrim, you can take 2 things from it. You can say, oh, in the scrims, they have a lot of pocket strategies. They're really interesting. Everything's going great. Or their morale. Both, for Cog Red, were a train wreck.
Yeah. We heard a lot of rumblings about how Cog Red were under practicing or whatnot. Whether or not that was a clever ruse or all the stars aligned today for them, we don't know. All we know is that one team has already been decided to go to the World Championships, fight for over $1.4 million, and that's growing thanks to you guys. But that'll be Cog Red, guaranteed to be there. And the next match will be Complexity versus Cog Prime. But let's go more in-depth into the matches that we just saw. You guys just called the action. I'm just going to ask you flat out, I mean, as a whole, what happened?
Well, you want to start? You want me to start?
If you wouldn't mind. The number one thing that I saw from that game was the double hand. This is a strategy that we used to see literally every game, and eventually it fell off. We figured out that you're gaining more experience and better end game coming out from single hand, from jungle and solo.
Right.
What they were doing is they were forcing the single hand at the mid camps because we call it the dig start. 3 men, you know, 3 players right at the mid camps in the beginning. Devios walks over and goes, hand it or I'm taking him. Walks up, hand it or I'm taking him. Then he took them the first game. The third game, he's like, hand it or I'm taking them. Lassus handed it. And then they just took the speed buff, went to blue, and they're like, hand it or I'm taking. Oh, you don't have another hand.
Yeah,
sorry.
And the other thing here, too, like just to kind of touch on that as well, is really the complete control of the jungle. Cog Red just,
what it was?
They had no, Dignitas had no right even looking at blue or red, anything throughout the entire duration of the game. And again, I gotta say it's kind of Divios, right? Like, all the time, when you're going against Kiki doesn't really go bruisers or anything crazy like that.
Likes mages.
Yeah, he's mages.
He likes healers.
He's not, like, Shing's not used to the pressure that Divios has. And with Osiris, and this is what I want to ask you guys about, Osiris is a beast in the solo lane.
Osiris is absolutely incredible coming out of the solo lane. I mean, Divios does this. We saw this last time out of Divios at the last $50,000 kickoff land. Giannis came out of nowhere. Right? And so game 3, Hercules, that's Divios. For those of you that have been following the team and Divios specifically, that's his god. Divios is Hercules, but Osiris? Where does Osiris come from, and why was he picked?
What I absolutely love about it is that he gains physical mitigation in his passive, he's gaining mitigation on his tether, and then he's building mitigation against physical solo, physical jungle, and Gnaw has to babysit the dual lane because they're picking Sylvanas every time into push comps. Me and Hinuman have been talking. At first, Sylvanas looked like the strongest character in the game. He got a little nerfed. We still thought he was strong, but as we see him played more and more and more, the end game is just too weak. But when you're ending the game at 20 minutes and you don't go into end game, Sylvanas is like actually broken.
Yeah, and at the same regards, talking about the duo lane here, you got to touch on Odin. Odin was picked every 2 out of 3 games there for Dignitas, and that's really kind of where it comes down to, right? It's like, okay, is Odin able to handle Sylvanas and Vulcan? The answer's no. Is he able to handle Rama? Ish. but
Right.
not nearly as well as any of the other ones. I would have liked to see a Bacchus.
See, Odin's a comfort pick for Danica, believe it or not. Danica plays actually a very good Odin, and to be honest with you, if we saw any other player in that position, I think it would have been even worse.
Oh, absolutely.
So at least credit to Danica for treading water and doing what he did, but I think the main problem there was Snoopy's Vulcan was picked before the Odin. You are setting yourself up. That is a comp that players try to get for their own team. Vulcan into Odin, and he said, I'll do it for you, no problem. And that set them up, that put them at a disadvantage right there. But one of the things I like about these matches is that you get to look specifically at the team. You know Lazarus isn't playing magical unless he's going Athena, and you know Shing's not going magical. So the choice for Osiris, as you mentioned, physical, this was a preemptive thought. This was something that he thought about for a long time, and it's definitely not something he said, oh, we'll pick Osiris. They thought about the players, they thought about the god choices, and they went right for it.
That's such a good point. They definitely did their homework completely, and we kind of talked about it here a little bit, and you can kind of go into depth about it a little bit more, but shut down Lassus, you can do it. But the big thing with even shutting down Lassus is you never give him the ability to start, and that's what they did.
You know, we've been talking about this since the beginning of Smite. You shut down Lassus, you shut down the team. It has been this strategy since the beginning of closed beta, whether it was, you know, Reason Gaming that he was on, or for when he was on Juice, or when he was on Root.
Okay, so Brandon never misses a chance to be like, oh, back when I was
what I'm saying.
You need a varsity
I wasn't on the play. I wasn't on Juice with Lassus. He was on Juice alone, and when they were losing to Zapman on Curse, it's because Zap was shutting down Lassus. It's always the strategy. When Dig started to fall off, it's because Lassus was no longer top. When Dig was on top, I always go back to PAX Prime 2013. They go completely undefeated, and Lass is top gold every single game. He is the best farmer in Smite, and if you take it away from him, it shuts down the strategy.
Laz is a fantastic catalyst for Team Dignitas, but the other one never goes unmentioned. I'm usually the one to bring him up, Zapman. Zapman does phenomenal things for this team, whether it's over-aggressive or just the right amount. He does things well, and you put him up against something odd like a Vulcan, and it's hard to react and really respond to that, and that's what we saw today. We had a shutdown of Lazarus in both the solo lane and the jungle by just aggressively taking out the jungle specifically, and then Zapman against a Vulcan. How do you deal with that? Those are the two people you want to look out for on Dignitas. Cogred knew that. As we said, they did their homework, and they just drilled it home.
Yeah, and you know, it's very easy to sit here and say what went wrong,
of course.
because it's very easy, right?
You know, we can see it. We can see it. We have a lot more information than the players do.
But with that said, Cognitive Red, amazing, right? I think the most fair matchup that we saw in the entire game was probably Gnaw versus the Boosh, and the Boosh completely outclassed him in the scenario. Like, I'm saying lane-wise, like, it wasn't like Boosh was completely bullying Gnaw out of the lane. He was just hitting rotations that Gnaw couldn't do. You know, we look at Cog Red, and I can't tell you how many times I've yelled the word Boosh in the last 15 weeks. I mean, it's been incredible. But I didn't say I called him out a few times. He had sick rotations. The Poseidon pick was pretty nasty, but. You know, we go into this, almost everybody in the world, including talking about the SBL, was like, Gnaw's a weak link, Gnaw's a weak link. Gnaw was absolutely the strongest player on that team this weekend. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Gnaw looked very strong. One of the things I want to point out about that Poseidon pick, because everybody says Poseidon's so easily countered by Aegis, right? He is, but so is Vulcan. Pick your poison. Either Aegis the Vulcan ultimate or Aegis the Poseidon ultimate, and we're going to hit you with the other one.
You're taking a grand either way. Like, it's going to happen.
Exactly. I mean, that's what we saw. Powerful burst mages out of both the middle lane and the duo lane. Something very special that Cognitive Red has done. They brought Mercury around last time. They're bringing Vulcan around. Although it wasn't a secret this time around, they brought Vulcan ADC around this time. So we definitely got to see something like that.
This is my big issue, is that we see Hunbots, we see Bastet, we see Bastet. If Lassus would have picked Mercury, I think things would have been different.
Yeah, okay.
At least a little different.
I knew this was going to come up just a little bit.
I don't know where Mercury was.
The thing is a lot of pros right now, like I asked them, I was like, why is Mercury not being played? And they said, we just think he's weak. Like, they actually think he's weak.
The character's OP.
When you look at Mercury's kit, it's like, okay, you have free poke, you have a special delivery, you have an ultimate that basically stuns. Like, he's really strong. And in that scenario, I don't even know if Lassus played him when, like, Mercury was super strong.
Well, he has the third highest burst damage in the game, only behind Anubis and now the new Alquang. I mean, maximum velocity is nonsense. And
70.
It's
70% attack
crazy.
speed.
And you get to build that. You get to get 70% attack speed by level 13, and then you still have the ability to build full crit. Like, that's broken.
It's really strong. That said, Lazarus' best stat is strong.
Oh, his last
I saw the
amazing.
picks and bans, and I wasn't worried for Lazarus. This was just, I think this was less of, yeah. I think this is Cog Red. That's the headline. It's less about Dignitas and more about Cog Red. Sometimes you just do what you got to do, and that's what we saw to Cog Red. So I mean, it was incredible.
Can we just accept the fact that no matter what god Thor or Garz plays, just ban Thor. Like, he's gonna see success with everyone. Just get Thor out of there. That beginning play. I said to Gandhi, I'm like, if they wind up 2 games, they're going to think we have to deal with this some other way. Don't ban Thor, we'll figure it out. And that's exactly what happened. And I'm just like, this is not going to go well. But do you let Ra through? Do you let Ra through?
The first blood, though, I mean, he goes into the bottom camp by himself against 2 and then dives a tower at level 3 to get a first blood and then walks away from it. That's not a thing that happens.
But do you let Ra through?
No.
So you like, what happens? You ban Ra, Thor every single time, and then that's Osiris?
I would rather have the Osiris go through than the Thor.
Pick a mage against it.
It's just when
Pick a mage? That's the way?
This has been something that's been said about Cog Red for a long time. You really, really just can't ban them out. You have to beat them holistically, not one-on-one. That's the story of Cog Red in general. That's the story of how they took that matchup. Let's take a look at the brackets and see where Complexity and their opponent, Cognitive Prime, will land.
This is basically the next matchup here, but Dignitas like kind of getting here. I mean, they had a good win versus Fat Chunks. The first game was kind of like a little bit shaky. We were kind of like, oh god, Dig can't end again. But the second game was perfect. They had morale high, everything was good. Cognitive Red completely outclassed.
Then we go down to the bottom side, we see Complexity versus the Clowns, right? Clowns came out super strong, man. Rambozos were incredible. First blood, it was a double kill, 2 games in a row, but they couldn't equate it into the end game. Complexity's veteran teamwork was just too strong.
Yeah, I mean, Complexity just, they know what they're doing. They come out to play. They come strong. And as I said earlier in the program, Complexity, they're representing the new black and red. They've got the flag to fly. They finally have a sponsorship. No bias. They finally have a sponsorship to really represent and be proud of and be strong, and they're coming out to play now. So looking forward to this match. What are you guys looking for? Not predictions just yet. I won't put you on the spot. But what are you looking for in this next matchup?
When it comes down to it, I've seen Prime scrim a lot. I know, there's a few janky picks that are going to come through. It comes down to teamwork. Their rotations have to be strong. If they can rotate like Cog Red, they're going to do well. When it comes down to Complexity, their teamwork is already amazing. Their individual skill is what I'm looking for. Kiki has to make sure the wards come out, because if he allows Andy to rotate behind him, he's going to wind up dead every time. So offense for Cog Prime, I want to see defense from Complexity.
Well, then that's the thing, right? Kiki, we saw him yesterday. Fantastic.
The kiss through the wall, though?
Okay, well, easy. Relax, okay?
I can't.
I think Kiki needs to have his safe picks. I'm expecting to maybe see probably Afro gone in at least one of the games of the series. I don't see them letting that through, but I have a lot of eyes on the duo lane here, right? We saw a lot of Freya yesterday. Let's see how Allied can do if it's taken away from him. Now, but on the same side, right? Barracuda, when you look at his god pool, who he sees success with, you know who it is?
Everyone.
Apollo.
Every single person in the game.
Apollo. In ranked, he sees a lot of success with Rom, but it's really all about Apollo. So we might see them actually strip that away.
I mean, I have to reiterate what Brandon said. Even if you take the Apollo away, he can. So hunters do damage with their basic attacks. Barracuda hits all of his basic attacks.
Right.
You could give him a Musin Cobb, and he might be successful. Like,
First off, the singer actually is strong.
Calm yourselves. Calm down.
I can't wait. I know AMC is going to get picked up in this event, and like how he is with his meditation and weird little quirky builds.
That just won.
And your tie clamp. I got nothing.
Hey, you guys saw the head-to-head interview I did with Omega and Allied. Do I have to do one with you too? You guys
wait for the bug, man. Just wait for AMC, bro.
I'm excited for this Complexity matchup, though, because me personally, I'll be looking in the jungle. Weekend is a machine.
Guys, godlike.
Weekend, and I mean, I think it was Bart earlier that mentioned it. He came out of nowhere.
No, yeah, man.
They picked him up. He was an unknown player.
He had 6 days to practice and get to this LAN because Shing left the team.
We're referencing the kickoff LAN.
Wait. He joined Smite like the same time I did?
No, I mean, he's been playing forever.
I was like, wow, that guy's got a lot of individual skill.
But the North American Regional, Shing had left the team and went to Dignitas. They found Weekend, completely unknown player, had 6 days to practice on this professional level. Went out, did it, came out, surprised everybody, Mercuried everyone in the face, essentially. Really no analysis there, and everybody all of a sudden got a Weekend jersey. They did. He showed everyone how incredible he could be, how incredible the character could be, and now, tenured SPL experience. He's at his second LAN, ready to do it. I'm looking at Weekend specifically, and across the yard, I'm looking at Cog Prime's jungler. So it's going to be insane.
Yeah, and you know, historically here in the sense of esports, since I've been around for so long, normally when Complexity joins a scene, they immediately see success.
Right.
And you know, it's happened in Call of Duty. It's going to probably happen in Halo now. I think right now though, for Smite, I think Complexity has it. It's just something about those
So the
colors.
black and red?
It's the black and red, right?
All
Like
right.
you just feel good when you wear it. And I mean, I feel good. Feel good.
Going into it, it could go either way for me. You know, I've known these guys for a long time. I know what they can do. My big thing is it's going to be Allied and Anitzer for me. It's going to be which one is able to focus up at LAN better. I mean, Allied has always seen a lack of success. Anitzer, I mean, they call them Landinster sometimes. I mean, it's pretty rough. It goes back and forth. I think if Andy can find his footing, it's going to be quick. If Allied can find his footing first, it's going to be. But for me, I'm split.
I've always loved Allied in the team fights. The second Allied leaves the lane, in lane, he's not bad, but there's a conversation to be had.
He likes to fight.
But the second he leaves the lane, it's sort of a toss back to his experience playing Super Smash Bros. or even StarCraft. He understands how to position and the deeper intricacies of a team fight. When it comes to one-on-ones, it's not always the same, but he understands spacing, he understands positioning.
His footsies are sick.
Exactly, and that's what Allied brings to the table. So on lane, he's going to be able to do that. And you know, I've heard whisperings from the COG players. Anitzer is confident.
Yeah, well,
Anitser's feeling good.
Anitser's always confident.
Okay, well, let's just be honest here. If there's a player who's not confident and you're trying to boost them up on your team, what do? You overcompensate and you make tweaks and you're like, we're super confident right now, right? Like, it's like the most basic defense you have as a human is to just do the opposite. And we'll see, right? It's going to come down to shot calling. Now, I talked to Dare to Care about it, and basically, Anitzer has this time where he just clamps up. Like, if the first play doesn't go right, I don't see it going well.
So with that, I'm going to assume that COG Prime's going to get aggressive. They want to start quickly.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see Weekend going aggressive in the beginning. I see him as more of a, this time at least, more of a disciplined player. He's going to be like, I'm going to play my normal meta. I'm going to counter against wards. I'm going to try to counter against their strategy, play my game, get to end game first.
I mean, that's what Weekend does.
Yeah.
Weekend reads you like, I mean, I'm going to go into another
Complexity.
game. Weekend, and by proxy, Complexity reads you like a Street Fighter player. They wait for you to make your move, and then they react. And COG Prime, they're always the first one to make the step. Will that be for Complexity's benefit or not will remain to be seen. And now, I told you I wasn't going to do it before, but we've reached that point, Brandon. I'm going to put you on the spot. Complexity, Cognitive Gaming.
Are you scared?
5 games. Who wins and how?
3-2 Prime.
Would you like to say anything about it?
I got 3-2 Prime.
3-2 Prime, that's it.
All I'm going to say is Omega. I think Omega's going to get in their heads.
I can definitely, I feel that.
Now that's valid. Now if we get into Time Mobile here, we get into the DeLorean and we power up and we go to like 2007. I played against Omega way back in the Halo 2 days. He didn't have as much success, right? And Weekend's basically like a prodigy of me, right? Like he's like my son, even though we're like 2 years apart moving forward. But I think Complexity is going to take this one. I feel it in my heart. Like, it's what I want. In the first game, I was like, I went with reason. I went with complete reason. I was like, Dignitas, they're happy. Everyone's good. COG Red, they don't look good. Looks like their dog got hit by a car. Like, they were not confident at all. I'm going to go with my heart. I got Complexity in a 3-1.
3-1. Wow. 3-1. All right, so
bring it on.
We've got the COG fans in the audience booing my man Scott Gotti right here. Great background.
There's Kiki.
Great background
Kiki.
to hear about Omega and Scott winding up in the Halo tournament together.
Hey, yeah, you keep it up. You keep that up.
You can take the guy out of the player world, but you can't take the player out of the guy right there. Still ready to argue. So we've got Brandon going 3-2, Cog Prime. All he said was Omega. You've got Scott going 3-1, Complexity. And you know what? Cognitive Gaming has had a lot of dominance in this scene. They have a lot of strong players. I'm going to say Complexity 3-2. Duo! And I'll tell you why.
Where were all these COG fans when Dig was playing?
They're flying a new flag. They're flying a new flag. Weekend has had an entire SPL season to figure out his identity and what he does, and we've talked about it. They're responsive, and Cog Prime always makes the first move. I'm with Brandon. If Omega comes out and pulls some crazy stuff like we see him during the season, I'll shift over to Cog Prime. But as it stands, we're going to see 5 incredibly close games, and I think the black and red will take it. So that's all 3 of us. So I say Complexity, he says Complexity, and he says Cog.
I think it's going to be Prime.
You know, Brandon, it's a little known fact, but he just tries to please the crowd there. He doesn't like to try to be like
Have
different
you read
than
the
other
Reddit?
people.
Are you kidding me? It's literally the opposite.
Yeah, no, I love this. Okay, so we have the unofficial crowd vote as well. Cog Prime in 3. Those are the guys, if you've been watching the broadcast, we interviewed them from the stands. They got some body paint on my suit. I wasn't too happy. But they're here and they're cheering, and that's really what it's about. Don't forget, this is all for the Worlds. So if Brandon's right, we'll see Cognitive Prime head to Worlds. Right now we're at $1.4 million. That's growing.
1.44. Come on now.
1.44.
1.44.
Expand 1 digit. But that grows every week. If you guys are unaware of how we do it, essentially we put 1 item into what we call the Odyssey every single week. You can purchase it in-game, and a portion of your money goes towards the prize pool. We started at $600,000, folks. You guys have raised over $800,000 all for this prize pool. It's absolutely insane. That's what they're fighting over. Cognitive Red has already earned their stripe and their trip there. We've seen the 2 European teams, the amateur team, and we saw from the bottom side, SK Gaming earn their ways. This one is for the 4th out of North America. It's going to be Complexity, or it's going to be Cog Prime. Let's see it in the chat. Let's see it in the fans where you think your team will be. And we're going to cut it to a video very soon. Thanks for watching.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Expert Desk, where I am joined by Cret. Those games before were really intense. I wonder if we're going to see another 3-0 shutout. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about the 2 teams that we're going to see. It is going to be Cognitive Prime versus Complexity. Now, give me a rundown of what happened to Cog Prime during the SPL.
Well, during the SPL, Cog Prime was really solid. They weren't beating everyone. They had some trouble with their sister team, Cog Red, who was beating everyone. But Cognitive Prime was always really a clear second place, regardless of what was happening. Even when Dignitas went on their 7-game win streak, Cognitive Prime was fine. They were doing well. They looked good against Dignitas. They looked good against everyone else. So they've never really buckled under the pressure of the SPL. And as the casters mentioned earlier, Cognitive Red didn't necessarily look so good in scrims, and those scrims were against Prime. And I think that says something about Cog Prime.
I agree. Well, let's take a quick look at Cog Prime's roster.
Cognitive Prime. No Megatron. Andenster. MLC Stealth. Jeff Hindler. Barracuda.
And that was Cog Prime's roster, everyone. I like the fact that they added Jeff the Sex Hindla in there.
I believe it's actually his middle name, yeah. His name's not Jeff Henla in real life, but his middle name, still the sex.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. Now let's talk about Complexity. Recently sponsored in the SPL, we know them as Snipe. Give me a rundown of how they have done.
Snipe Gaming started off the season a little rough. They got 3 kills in a triple first blood before the game started against Thirst, and then lost that game. That was the only game Thirst ever won. And then Complexity, Snipe recovered. They found their pacing, and they ended the season in 3rd, which is quite respectable, ahead of Dignitas, which was a bit of a surprise for some. And Complexity is a very different team from Snipe Gaming, right? Snipe Gaming with Shing, with Allied, this is not the same team. Weekend has been a huge influence. Kiki has been a huge influence. And Incontinentia, Allied, and even Jerby, they're playing better than ever.
All right, well, let's take a look at the new Complexities team roster.
Complexity. Kiki or nah. Weekend. Jerby. Incontinentia. Allied.
All right, Cret, before we get into game 1, I'm going to have to ask your opinion on this. Who do you give it to?
It's really tough. I think I'm going to go with Prime, but honestly, it could go either way. Both teams look good. Both are rocking a little bit of that red, a little bit of that black, and I can't wait to see who's going to take it.
It's going to be really exciting, everyone. This is game 1 of the best of 5. Show your hype, everyone, as we go to the casters.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the commentary desk for set number 2. It's Cognitive Prime versus Complexity. My name is hi-rez Bart. Joining me on the desk is the one and only hi-rez Dry Bear. And well, Dry Bear, this is a very highly anticipated matchup, I think, especially after the first set went 3-0. People are looking at Complexity to really show us if there's another team in North America besides one called Cognitive.
Well, it's kind of like musical chairs, right? There's one chair left for Worlds.
Right.
And they really want that chair. And you're looking at these teams up on the stage right now. They're so excited. Actually, take that back. Cog Prime is so straight-faced right now.
Yeah, they don't look
Can
excited.
we get some smiles
They
right
look like
now?
killers, man. But we are moving into picks of bands here, Roy. Let's talk about the first bands coming out already on the left side for Complexity. They've gotten rid of the Ra and the Apollo. On the right side for
It's gonna
Prime,
be Circuit.
yeah,
There it
a couple
is.
of assassins, that they've targeted here with the Arachne
Has to be.
Circuit. So first pick does go the way of Complexity here. Common knowledge would say this is going to be, and there it is, yeah, the new Wa,
Right.
very highly valued, but notably Thor left open here to pick up, as is the Zhongkui. This should lead into
No
a
surprises.
Nemesis pickup as well to get rid of the main counter to the God. They're taking a look at it. They're switching to Giannis,
Well,
perhaps.
It's Weekend, right? So he can take that into the jungle very, very easily. They're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
take the Freya away. Actually, I don't think they were really too worried about Allied taking Freya in this matchup, but Stealth going to take Junkwei in the mid lane, guaranteed. Oh, there's the
Yeah,
Nemesis.
they're flipping back and forth. They've looked at Nemesis, Giannis, Freya now
It's
so
Edit's
far.
turn.
We'll
It's
see what they
Edit's
lick
turn.
in.
Yeah.
Lick in, lock in.
Nemesis.
Lick
There
that
it is.
in.
Yeah, they're going to lick Nemesis right on in there.
So you look at this, right? You know that Arachne and Circuit is just straight at Weekend. They're saying, you know what, Weekend, we don't want you to take off this match. We want you to be full in your weakest state. They're going to have Kali locked in here and Vulcan
That's-
afterwards, but they got New Wa.
Well, that's kind of the name of the game here, right? That Kali is their, I don't want to say it's a pocket pick, but it's like their backup strategy, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, you banned out like my preferred kind of early game tempo setting gods. I'm going to go super late here. We're going to draft Vulcan and Nuwa, who are exceptional mages in the late stages of the game. They take the Kali as well. All they need is a couple bridge picks here, and they have a lot of room to work with, given that the power of the mages they have in the mid and the solo lane. They can do a little bit of funky play out of the duo. Maybe a Sylvanas fits in this lineup, okay, to bridge that early and mid game for them.
Well, the duo is the case here, and you're saying it right. I mean, you got Nemesis and Junkwei. They have a decent late game. Nemesis can scale pretty well as an auto-attacking assassin, but they need that late game power coming out of the solo lane and coming out of the Hunter. We'll see what Barracuda decides to go with. Neath and Apollo gone now, targeting him very much on the side of Complexity. And with Geb off the table, locking in Sylvanas, they're looking at possibly maybe even a Rom here.
Yeah, they
a
take,
strong
they take
play.
the Sylvanas. It's pretty easy to match either an on her, I feel like, or
Right.
a Rom if need be. And it will be the Rom locked in by Cognitive Prime here. So that's going to be going the way of Barracuda.
I like the Rom against Kali or Vulcan, right? Kali sticks to you, you just go up in there, you sit there for
Yeah,
5 seconds,
true,
you're like,
true.
you know what? Go on your destruction, I don't care.
Also good at sniping out the Kali as she's kind of retreating. You know,
That's right.
use destruction, leaves the fight, can still snipe her out, especially considering the Newell was drafted by Complexity. They don't have that tool available to them. Going back to the side of Complexity now, they have to round out their final 2 picks, and they have some options here. And, well, they're taking a look
That's
at
the
the B, and they're going to lock
the
the
bug.
B. Wow, so Ally drafting a Muzen Cobb here, and they're going to pair it with an Odin to go into Sylvanas Rom. They're going to have sufficient lane clear, right? They're going to
Yes.
start winning this lane at
Early
about
game.
level 3. It should be free clear for them. But, and honestly, Muzen and Rom, it's a pretty good boxing match, I'd say. And Kognitive
no.
Prime with their final pick.
Oh, no.
They've taken the little lady here. It's going to be the Scylla.
Is this an Omega Junkway? Are we getting the stealth Scylla instead?
Yeah, it looks like we will. It makes a lot of sense, especially considering that
damage.
Well, you know, if you think about kind of how the draft progressed, it was almost a sure thing this is how it was going to play out. With the Nemesis pickup, it just synergizes so well with Junkway in that solo lane, the slow stacking with how his ultimate works, plus taking that very popular counter pick out of the pool, as well as being a really strong Andinster god, as well as the double dash Fist of the Gods Nemesis sets up skill shots very well, and gods like Scylla, Ra, Kukulkan all synergize very well with that playstyle. So it opens up a lot of the map for Prime to kind of find some stuns where perhaps they shouldn't on the Nemesis and make those plays, and their front line is going to be really, really ugly in this game. The Nemesis with the shield, the Junkway with his natural tankiness, and the Sylvanas obviously being the support, it's going to make it very hard for Complexity to cover the distance and find kills for Weekend to get them ahead.
Well, you're not going to see the double hog we saw last game, right? Dignitas had a lot of trouble against that warrior hog, jungle hog.
Yes.
So we're going to see mages in both the solo lanes. It's going to be a very strong card. But you saw, you know, Kali being picked for that late game stage. Odin generally picked for that early game
Yeah,
stage.
it falls off.
He's very much that high end in the beginning, trying to get the initial start. Now, Odin doesn't fall off as hard as you might not think, so he has that late game prowess to lock them in. Now, looking at the lineup here for Prime, they've got Rom, who can go up in there and avoid the damage inside the ring, Scylla, who can teleport out, but that's it. I mean, you're going to see Nemesis, Junkway, and Sylvanas all locked inside of that Ring of Honor, and they won't be able to escape. Now, obviously, there's the flip side of that, right, where Odin traps himself in and gets stuck, and we saw this all day long today, all day long yesterday, where the Odin puts the rings down, realizes, oh, this is not a good time to do this, and he cannot do anything about it. He's stuck inside.
Yeah, we don't see the Poseidon this time to really abuse that, but there is a Scylla, and that's plenty of damage to go into the Odin. We are moving into the game, ladies and gentlemen. It's Cognitive Prime versus Complexity, the blue team this time, fighting on the bottom side of the minimap, the left side of your spectator UI. It is the gentleman of Complexity. It is Weekend in the jungle as the Kali, and Continentia the captain, pairing up with Allied in the dual lane as Odin and the Bug. Kiki Orna will be your solo lane Nua, and that leaves Gerbs with a very difficult ultimate to hit on the Vulcan in the mid.
Oh, man. Well, across the way, you got Prime, Cognitive Prime. Give it up in here. A big fan of Cog Prime. We've got Barracuda on Rom at the top there. Of course, defending him will be his one and only buddy, Jeff, the Sex Hinla on Sylvanas.
The fighting Canadian.
We've got John Quay in the mid lane, or I'm sorry, the solo lane, played by Omega, and of course in the mid lane, little baby Scylla on Stealth, and then jungler Andinster with Nemesis, and this is proving to be an early game of champions here, because we've seen time and time again how much the first game sets the pace of these matchups, and right now Prime is looking like they're ready to take the early game confidently. We've got wards on the Gold Fury, one single ward from Prime on the right side mid camp. They know exactly what's going on.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, Rory. Every first game winner has gone on to win the set so far.
Yes.
In this tournament. So you're absolutely right about that. The first game has dictated a lot of the pace of these sets. And, well, maybe we just haven't seen two teams that were actually very evenly matched is kind of the feeling here. It's not a big surprise when the first set belies the set or the first game belies the set when you're looking at teams that are 3-0ing and 2-0ing.
Right.
It's going to always go that way, right? So maybe this game we get a little bit more contention. I think most of the analysts have at least 1 or 2 games going to the side of Complexity. I think a lot of the pro players, especially in Europe, are rooting for Complexity to think they can win this game.
Right.
And they, in theory, can win this game. Their biggest challenge is going to be dealing with individual matchups. I think their team play is as good as Cogs.
Well, you look at Complexity right now. The first question I'm going to ask is, what is Allied going to build on that AMC? AMC is a character we don't normally see that often, and generally when we do, there's a big split decision on whether you go Transcendence, whether you go, into the Devourer's Gauntlet. You can see he's already started that spiked
Check
gauntlet.
the right side here. Andinster looking for a little bit out of the jungle. Weekend's going to find him. Andy sitting at just over half health. There's not going to be any engagement just yet. They're going to leech some XP off the mids, perhaps while Andy falls back to those backside camps or goes to leech as well.
There's
but
the movement speed buff.
You're right about that B pickup, and it's going to be the Devourer's Gauntlet what he's building into. Yeah, I think it's the right play here. When you look at it from the perspective of they need Kali to be the late game. They can't rely on her to set up the ganks. They need her to be farming. You can't buy items that take that long to pan out like the Transcendence on the B. But as you saw there, the clear in this lane is really phenomenal. And it will get Allied into that very safe kind of level 8,
look
level
at the
9.
lineup for Prime, too. They've got a lot of damage to the side. It's pretty much guaranteed, right? John Gray's going to ult, and you're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to dodge those ghosts, right? They're just going to follow you.
You can't dodge Nemesis, you can't dodge John Gray.
Yeah, he's going to take damage the entire time, and he knows he has to box his way back up to full HP. So he's going down that Devourer's Gauntlet road, so he keep himself alive and sustain these long engagements. And they know they're playing the long play here. They need to make sure they make it to late game to activate that Kali. Otherwise, it's not going to work too well. Early on, we'll look at the graphs. A little bit of a lead here to Prime, but nothing too major. There's a hook on Incon, grabbing the left side. They're going to back off of this one.
Yeah, you know, one thing that kind of similar to how you'll see tanks sometimes build a Witchblade, this seems like a decent game for Jeff Hinla to buy maybe a 5th item Divine Ruin.
Sure.
On Sylvanas, it's just absolutely devastating. It's a guaranteed all targets in range hit, long duration dot, which means that the Divine Ruin will continue to stack up, which means that when Kali comes out of destruction, she won't get back that percentage in full, right? She'll only get a portion
left
of
side,
it.
weaken on Jeff Hinla, knocking him back, half HP. He pops the Wisp. Is it enough to save him? The new ultimate coming down from the skies. The fire is in. We can look for the shot, cannot find it. Jeff Hinla endures the pain of complexity.
Jerb has an ultimate. I'm not sure they spotted this rotation, but he's not going to fire it off. Not feeling himself today, at least as Jerby. He's considering, there it is. Is it going to be enough? I'm not sure Jeff spotted it.
Nope.
Oh!
Those Wisps, though.
The Hinla sitting at just about 100 HP after that ultimate comes through. Jerby not finding any success, but Complexity does leech that XP over to Weaken. Nice job covering the lane, maximizing what they're getting in the early stages. That's going to keep them even with that failed rotation.
We're going to see a lot of XP per minute and gold per minute there for Volk in the mid lane with Jerby. He's just been farming his heart out. Right side, contesting the mid camp. Looks like one goes to each. Oh, Weaken's in trouble. There's the ultimate. He'd slow down here. Can he escape? Could be a second time. No!
Done.
There goes Stealth. First blood, Cognitive Prime.
Yeah, that was just a miscalculation by Weekend. Didn't do the math. He got to do the math. He used his incense to try to secure those right side camps. Didn't have enough mana to then leap. You saw him leaning up against the wall, auto-attacking, thinking that he was going to fire that off, and does give up the first blood. That's a tough morale hit, I think,
Absolutely.
as well.
Now, look at the build here. I think that Jeff can actually go for a Void Stone. I think that you look at the lineup, right? You've got magic protection and penetration is going to help. Scylla's burst is going to help John Quay's burst. But look across the way. You have a lot of targets that are very squishy and easy to pick off. You've got Kali, you've got Nuwa, AMC, and Vulcan. Look at the mid lane. The damage Jerby's got nowhere to go.
Look at Stealth.
Wow.
He just pops the ultimate and runs around, forcing Jerby to try to dodge somewhere, and well, he has no choice. And once again, the team with Cog in front of their name seems to be the dominant one in this matchup. 2-0 in the first 4 minutes. Granted, it's not an insurmountable lead, only about 1,000 gold, but the pace is very heavily dictated right now by Cognitive Prime. And I feel like things may have gone a little bit different if Complexity would have secured that early kill onto the Sylvanas, got a little more pressure in that lane. But now they're fighting from a small but nonetheless noticeable early game disadvantage with a Muzen Cobb and Kali.
Look at the wards placed right now. We're going to see 4 coming out from Incontinentia, 2 across the way from Jeff Hinla. But a lot of the vision comes down from the support, and he's going to be the one that's going to be driving the vision for his team. And realistically, you're looking for more teammates to start picking that up and help him out, because Odin, if he falls behind in tankiness, he's almost worthless.
I'm looking at, let's see, 4 players in the game that have 42 to 45 minion kills. I believe that's every single minion picked up in 3 lanes right now. So the farm is extremely efficient for these players.
Oh, they're doing a great job in keeping it up as well. It seems like the lanes are stable at just the rotations, and we're seeing a little bit of that. In the last matchup between Cog Red and Dig, we saw a lot of rotations. You saw Boosh all over the map, moving, and Prime's making a big effort to do the same exact thing. You saw the rotation in the mid lane constantly. You're seeing pressure left, right, and center, and it seems to be it's the point where teams are just not used to the tempo.
Well, and that's also a great way to kind of counterplay into that Muzen Cobb is to rotate to his lane a lot.
Right.
It makes it pretty difficult for him to do really anything he wants to do. Let's take a look on the left side of the map here. Turning the corner is going to be Andy. Weaken still has his hog. He's going to reset.
Weaken has no hog.
But Andy's just going to go right. Oh, he has a hog. There's the ultimate coming out. Weaken's going to be forced to leap. The dashes should come through. New ultimate as well. Stealth with a dunk. The destruction is beautiful from Weaken, though he's going to evade that death. Excellent play, but now it's Incon who's rotated over, trying to make some plays for his teammate. They're going to try to put the damage out onto Andy. Over the top comes Earthshaker, but it's going to miss the Nemesis. Incon's going to be the one to fall this time. Allied, he may get rolled into. No. Perfectly happy to just accept the orange buff as their prize.
Rob's up. 1, 2, and 3. Scylla's there. There's the crush. Each name it popped, but it's not going to be enough. It's 4-0 right now for Cognitive Prime. The Gold Fury is standing. They do not have a Hog 3 available, but this is the same thing we saw last game. When you're jungling, you don't have a Hog, you are incredibly vulnerable.
Well, this is kind of how we used to see Cog Prime win games. MLC Stealth just finding kills. 3-0 through the early
right
stage
side.
here.
Damage from Omega coming out here. He's dropping low. There's the exorcism. One ghost comes out. Needs a single shot to do it. Pops the fog. He's got to blend this perfectly. Throws it out. The dunk. The burp on the card. It doesn't land.
They really need to capitalize on this. Do Complexity. Can they find the damage? No, they can't. Look at the rotation from Cognitive Prime. They realize their teammate was in trouble. They start to shade to the right side of the map. Complexity cannot answer back to that. That's a big kill drop for them.
That was really close there. And honestly, the fog power, it really helped him stay alive. He can stay anywhere inside that fog. He will be invisible. And Omega took his time leading with the fog, trying to get that shot, couldn't find it. Left side, you're going to see Hunter v. Hunter going strong here with the Bees coming out. But Bear could have gotten a little bit of the better of Allied as he's backpedaling there with that AMC. Both Hunters have their Devoured Gauntlets. We have 30 stacks to 18. So we see Barracuda already about 12 stacks ahead
That's
in
not
that
okay.
race.
That's not okay with the Musenkov,
No.
who has a superior clear of a ROM. Starting to fall behind by a lot, actually, is Allied. Level 10 on the Scylla in the mid lane to the level 8, just now level 9 on the Vulcan.
Right.
It's a big experience advantage with those 3 kills versus the 2 deaths on the side of Jerby. And kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, this is how we used to see COG win games back when they were the most dominant team in North America, was MLC Stealth leading the charge. The rest of the team was there to make the space for him and let him carry the entire first 15 minutes of the game, and then it became the Anminster show.
Well, right now we're seeing a huge difference in vision. You can see it on the map as well. So far, since we last spoke about wards, 1 ward has been placed by Cognitive Prime. 6 wards have been placed by Complexity. 2 more there from Incon, able to put that down. He's at 6 wards placed so far, but you can see that already Jerby's placed 3 and 2 more coming out from Nikiki or Na. Rotation into left side here, 3-man going towards the mid camp. There's nothing there. Incon heading back towards his teammate. Allied is standing strong. Gold Fury is standing up as well. No supports have picked up that Hog 3 yet.
Stealth is 800 gold ahead of Jerby in the mid lane right now.
Omega in trouble on the right side. Damage coming out. Forced back away from the tower as Kiki is getting very aggressive. Look at the goal between the two of them. You got 4,800 there onto Omegatron, and Kiki is sitting at a stout 4,800. So they're dead even in this solo lane.
Yeah, they and Kiki's gonna steal a camp away here. It looks like. I'm sorry, a wave. Push a wave into the tower. It's gonna do a pretty good job. It's gonna force actually Omega into the teleport to towers there,
Wow.
Drybear. That's not an uncommon pickup, but it's not incredibly common on Zhonghui.
It's not meditation.
It is not meditation, that's
If
true.
we're talking about things that it's not meditation. But you know what the biggest thing about it is that now he can start putting wards around the map, right? He can split push, and we saw from Mortality, Sile loves to split push with Zhonghui. It's a very successful strategy, but the difference is if you pick up teleport, you can now secure your lane. That tower's not going to take any damage. You can stay there the whole time, but he can split push. If his team needs him, put a ward down, he'll teleport to it. He's in the fight.
Yeah, Sile didn't do much of anything in the solo lane though. In that last tournament, he was, trying out that mid lane. But Zhonghui teleport, like, you usually see this kind of strat on very mobile gods, I feel like.
Yes.
Like Chalk, maybe a better option. Like people that can really close distance into the fight. He does only have that teleport. It's rank 1. You could see him maybe move into a blink to try for that initiation, but my expectation is that's going to be beats 3.
Right.
So that he can kind of stay and stick. So, will it be a factor? Like, it seems to always, from the Chaos side, be this ward kind of on the north end of the Gold Fury they teleport into and kind of, backdoor the Gold Fury, come around the backside and keep them by, kind of unawares. But can he find those rotations to make this item worth it? If not, it's just going to be okay unless they're snowballing and he's just joining team fights.
I think he can. I think one well-placed ward, right? Not on top of the Fire Giant, not on top of the Gold Fury, not where there's going to be a sentry there where it can be countered. If they throw it behind him, if a Zhonghui comes behind you, pops his ult, slows everyone, gets a big AoE stun, that's one of the best initiations you can get, and now all of a sudden you're taking continual damage while he's there. I think it's a perfect position for them, and if anyone's going to coordinate that kind of teleportation, it's going to be Cognitive Prime. We're going to put him right in the backside. Now, one thing you think about, right, you're changing their focus, and you look at the team lineup for Prime, you need to do that, because if you shift your focus, say, oh, there's a Zhonghui, I'm a monster. Get rooted. Big crush. Big AoE coming out. Rom's up in the air. And if that split second of attention loss is the end of the team fight. Right.
And, there's subtle places. They're not really so subtle places where Prime's pulling ahead in really important roles. Jeff Hinless up 2 levels on the Odin of Incontinentia, which means that Bird Bomb is not a threat anymore to Sylvanas. Sylvanas' major weakness to this part of the game is just can't do too much about aggression onto him. Not like a Geb that can knock up multiple targets or have the big AoE stun to follow up the first set of CCs. He really only has that ultimate to peel for himself. So that's where you see him getting bullied, and that's not going to happen now with that advantage. And then, kind of as I mentioned, that almost 1,000 gold and 2 levels on MLC Stealth in the mid lane as well over Jerby. That just means that Jerby's burst isn't going to be as scary either.
Well, you're looking at there, and I think that you're waiting for Complexity to choose their time right, because right now they're sitting at 2,700 experience behind. That's much more important than the gold. I mean, right now 1,600 gold is not a huge deal. It's about a Gold Fury, right? But you look at the experience, that could be an extra level in your ultimate as they're hitting level 11 pretty soon here. In fact, we already have 1 level 11 in the game. That's going to be MLC Stealth in the mid lane with that Scylla. So you're looking and wondering, can they make this work? Because if they hit level 11 first and they use a team fight right away, they've got that extra boost.
Yeah, and then, the shining light right now for Complexity is definitely Kiki, also sitting at that level 11. With Sprint 2, not with the teleport to tower, so Maybe going to get a little bit more out of that active later in the game than that teleport towards will be, potentially. But that's a lot of work for this Nuwa to do to bridge the gap that they have now moving into the early stages of the mid-game. This first Gold Fury, it's going to be really hard for Complexity to contest. You're going to see this play out here in just a couple minutes, about 90 seconds once these mid-camps respawn. We'll get a good idea of kind of where Complexity sits in relation to Prime in this first game.
Well, you put a lot of effort into the first game, right? And right now, Complexity has not answered for Prime. They're 0-4. They don't have a kill on the board, but they're looking for that late game prowess. We can definitely catch up and make that presence known.
Yeah.
The question for me is, and I'm not really worried about AMC. I'm not worried about Vulcan. I know they can hit their numbers. I'm wondering what Incontinential is going to do with Odin, because Odin so far has not been successful. Now, you put the ultimate down, but if you're trapped inside with Jung Kui, he doesn't care. He's having a field day. You look at Scylla, right? He's got a lot of AoE. But you want to focus on Rom. You want to focus on Nemesis, because if Nemesis goes in and gets trapped, that's your chance to go in. If they do not capitalize on that small window, I feel like it's going to be a tough team fight for them.
Yeah, you know, he did go for that Death's Toll as well versus the Watcher's Gift Star, so that makes it a little bit tricky in terms of bridging that gap that he already has. Let's take a look on the left side, though. Allied in a lot of trouble on the B, trying to escape, but the pull is just beautiful from Jeff Hindla, and that is the second kill in this lane now going their way. Excellent, excellent stuff out of Jeff. That is a very difficult spell to hit without any additional CC, and, well, the Sex earning his name there.
Well, we see 0-5 so far for Prime, both solo lane. Actually, all 4 mana buffs are up on the map currently, and no one is making a move towards it. Actually, looks like when left side, we see Prime taking away Complexity's blue buff. This is a big loss for AMC. AMC, Artemis, Shibalanki, all characters that need that blue buff desperately. We're going to see Kali rotate over. Weekend's not going to be able to make an influence on this, but the mid camps are respawning here. We're going to see Anister head over with a crush. He should be able to take this down. Oh, they didn't leash him,
They
actually.
reset it.
Okay.
Oh, Stealth, you jokester. But hey, look, Nuwa is keeping pace with all of Complexity.
Yes.
I'm sorry, with all of Prime right now. 55, actually top farm of the game as this last wave comes through. So she's doing quite well for herself. If they can find that tower, she can bully Zhang Kui out, get some gold to her team. That could be the beginnings of how they get back into this game.
Well, we see that so far, Jerby is 0-2. He's the first person on the team to die twice, and we really need a lot of damage on him because obviously late game, especially with fast team fights, all you get a chance for is maybe 2 meatballs and a backfire, and that's it. And you need to hit as hard as you possibly can. We saw in the last match in Dig and Cog Red, we saw an early Soul Reaver being picked up, and that worked wonders. At this point, we're going to see what he decides to build into. He just finished his Shoes of the Magi. He's going to have that penetration. He's going to have that damage, but now he needs to decide whether he wants to go to damage early, penetration early, or possibly even a Warlock Sash against Prime.
So, this is a pretty important stat that I'm looking at right here. Gold per minute. Kali is sitting at 353, which is roughly where Sylvanas is. Granted, she is a very, very poor early gamer, but I think you're looking for maybe that 370, 380, even 400 at this stage of the game. It's going to be a late chin size. Picking up 350 gold a minute, it's going to take Kali about, sitting on 400 gold in hand, right? It's going to be 5, 6, 7 minutes before these chin size are even threatening to be done. That's a lot of time to wait when you're down 5 kills.
We're also seeing 60 gold per minute separation between the 2 hunters, right? Allied gets a sting on top of Barracuda, but he is long gone.
Yeah, he's down 2 levels and all that gold.
It's real rough, and no rotations coming out on the left side just yet. Incon was not interested in going for Barracuda. And of course, you have to think about it. When you want to jump on Rom, you can't. He goes up in the air, buys 5 seconds for his team to rotate. No major engagement just yet. Mid camps are down. Gold Fury is still standing. We see both supports have picked up their Hog 3, so it is a viable option. They just need the window to be able to do it. Now, the damage buff going down to Stealth means that he's going to have more control of that lane, and the towers, they're ticking down.
Well, the good news here for Complexity in this left side lane is that the burst between the Stinger and what Odin should bring to the table should be enough to kill the Rom before he takes to the air.
Sure. That burst damage is all you really need. Now, looking at Waken right now, he's going to go towards that Jotun's Wrath early. We're going to see possibly even an early chin size there for Mr. Weekend. And honestly, you need that damage early. The question is, it depends on what state of the game you're looking to activate when you're a Kali, right? If you're looking for super late game, you build into those hard late game items. But chin size is always a safe bet and a core for Kali herself with one of the fastest hit chains in the game. Look across the way, Scylla looks like Stealth is going to be going for a Sash.
That's not that surprising for Stealth. Honestly, I would say for most people it would be. It could be an E-Staff, really unlikely at this stage. It's going to be a fast Warlock Sash as well. He's sitting on another 700 gold in hand on top.
That's like
of
a Mega
the
Mech
uncommon
the same thing.
Yeah, they're going to tank up, right? It's kind of what we said in the draft. They have that better front line, the Nemesis Shield, that the Zhang Kui, and they're going to have as well their tank and Jeff Hindla. Scylla being a ungankable, quote-unquote, target for the jungler at this stage and for a lot
teleport.
of... Yeah. it's going to be with that extra HP pool. Now, the one downside of this is they are stacking HP going into a natural chin size carrier that's going to build it 100% of the time.
Rooted on Incon, left camp is spawning up here, weakened from behind, looking for that shot there. Endiser in trouble over the wall. He goes, looking for the 1v1. Retribution buys a lot of time. Weaken's in trouble here. He has the ultimate, Nuwa ultimate coming through. No deaths just yet. Jeff Inlet half HP. Scylla wants the monster. Can he hit it? Looking for the shot on Incon. He's got to jump soon. There goes the blink. And Incon says, see you later.
The old sound cue juke there, it sounded like. I do want to point out, I think a little bit of a misplay there on the side of Anitzer. Would have really preferred to see that Nemesis ultimate coming out onto the tank over the Kali. That could have been a missed target accident. Left side lane, a lot of trouble. Allied's not in trouble. Allied's dead.
Knocked down. The B has been taken out, and this could be a Gold Fury, Bart. This is not a good look for Complexity. No kills on the board. Their jungle is not safe. Their hunter is dead, and the Gold Fury is standing tall. It's 1,500 gold that could be added to the numbers of Prime. The crowd wants it. They want that Gold Fury attempt, but Prime will not be heeded.
I mean, it feels a little bit here like Muzenkov is just kind of like a bad Freya. Right? Like, it's same kind of like have to stand and fight in any kind of gank. The cripple on the ultimate's nowhere near as good as the banish for bailing yourself out. A little bit more bursty with a little bit less mobility. Can't take himself out of combat. Freya maybe is the pick
Which is weird, right? Because Freya can fly and the B can't.
Valkyries, man. Queen of the Valkyries.
Yeah, they're tough. Oh, there goes the startup. We see Sash completed here for Kiki on the solo lane.
3 of them getting done basically at the same time. Besides,
yeah, 19 like stacks already for Omega.
Omega was the first out of the gate with it.
That is wild. Midas is all Incon sitting on right now. That's all he's got. No watchers, just basic Midas. Look at the gold in hand right now. He's sitting on 500.
Yeah.
He's got nothing to his name, and he is rotating like crazy.
Really poor.
This is the problem, right? If you skip watchers and you rotate a lot and don't get anything for it, he's behind.
He's under 300 GPM right now in this game. That's really, really low.
For an Odin, that's detrimental. That's just a big loss to your team. And the thing is, when you see Odin mid and late, if he doesn't pick up enough items to be tanky, Odin naturally is not a tanky character.
Yeah, his base stats aren't there.
Yeah, it's low, and so he's going to be a very easy target for Prime, especially with Nemesis. One ultimate on him, and he's dead.
Left side here, the orange buff has respawn. Cog starting to make their way over here. They're just going to abuse Allied. They're going to use that Nemesis ultimate. They're not going to dive the tower, but they're going to force him out. Incon's going to move forward, but there's no follow-up for this ring. He just did it, just kind of to stall them out. But orange buff was picked up by Weekend on the backside there, so that's good news for Complexity. He's going to counter ward here. He's going to get that down before Jeff Hinla, but now has to find his way out of this morass.
Oh, look for the hook. Not going to find it there. So Sylvanas looking to just stop Weekend from moving it around. The Gold Fury has started. The rotations coming from Incon is going to be there. Looks like both Hogs are up for the supports. Jumping in, looking for the shot. Prime has taken the Gold Fury.
No,
I'm a monster landing down, and Jeff Hinla is still alive, but not for long. Allied's got that shot.
And here's exactly what we're talking about by picking the ROM. Weekend with a nice job juking those out, knowing where the blind spots are in that ultimate. He doesn't actually pick up the return kill, but was involved, gets the assist for the kill on the Jeff Hinla. They trade supports, but Gold Fury does go the way of Prime. That's going to give them a healthy advantage here, creeping up towards 5,000 in the gold, but the XP is 8K. They've gotten so much more out of this map, and those 7 kills really yielding that experience.
You know, honestly, you look at the fight in the left lane, it's easy to ignore the solo lane. Omega tried to teleport like 6 times. And Kiki was like, nope. Nope. Yeah. Or should I say nah? Kiki's like, nah.
Kiki said nah.
Just kept stopping. I mean, no rotation. He's locking that lane because he knew the Complexity had a chance there.
Yeah, one thing that's kind of like cheeky about this matchup here, you'll see Kiki doing this, is he throws out the clay minions. Zhonghui absorbs the cards off of them, and then he uses the stun.
Right.
I mean, it's just like, they're just going back and forth. And yeah, you would expect this one to stall it for some time. With the sprint up onto Kiki, there's really very little kill potential for Omega without a blink. So
that's it.
It should be a pretty static lane for now. And well, when you look at something like that, it's, you know, the Nuwa has a global ultimate that's a guaranteed hit. It's just going to be better for these stall situations unless Cognitive Prime is ahead like they are, and then Omega can walk out of this lane at 25 minutes with 4 items and just walk right through all the towers.
Let's look at player damage for a second. Allied was the lowest in the game about 5 minutes ago. He is now 3rd. 5,200 damage done. Allied has stepped his game up, and he's saying the B is alive. At this point, Prime is not expecting the amount of damage he's dealing out. He's sitting on that Devoureur's Gauntlet. He's got the boots for penetration, and now the top 3 damaging characters in the game are all Complexity.
Yeah, but it feels like, you know, a lot of this Allied damage is just, you know, B dots into Jeff Hinla heals. Right? I mean, like, that's not like a huge difference in, it's not swaying the lane, right? He's doing the damage, it's getting healed back. The protection buff from Jeff Hinla as well. Like, you can see Barracuda's been at full HP a lot of the time. Allied is just getting that kind of, like a standby, that bystander damage here. But
DM Brandon fake damage?
Yeah, that DM Brandon fake damage coming through.
That's right. Right side, new Kiki back to the lane here. He's staying pretty much on top right now, and he's very safe. I mean, he's got Divine Root, he's got Warlock Sash. He's literally the healing anyone has, but just look at the tick marks on both these characters. That Warlock Sash is keeping them so healthy. We're going to see the blue buff about to spawn, and Weekend is here to take it down. And honestly, they're struggling for gold in the jungle. They need to keep up with that pressure. Right now, they're sitting 5,000 gold behind and 8,400 experience. Let's not be disillusioned by that. At this point, Prime is very much in the lead, and Complexity, they need to get something.
Chin Sizer done at 17 minutes for Weekend.
Wow.
This is where he turns online. He's about 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes off pace of what you would want ideally for this god. But it is only after 1 Gold Fury. They haven't given up any of the towers, right? Is it enough what Cog Prime's done so far? Have they built a big enough lead to deal with this now starting to really maximize her DPS? Oh, left side lane.
Oh, Allied.
This is why he's just such a hard pick for the B. And you can see, just forced to stand and fight, right? There's just no other options for Muzikov, which is why I was kind of likening it to that Freya.
Yeah, I mean, you run, you're dead anyway. You may as well try and get a kill or maybe set up a kill for your teammates if they rotate. Incon forced back to the tower as well. They're not done yet. Here comes Prime from behind. Incon by himself. The ultimate coming out here. The slice in dice will take it. Prime with a double kill in the left lane. The tower will fall shortly, and Complexity has no response here. Weekend's on his way. There's nothing he can do. He's going to jump over, possibly back to the tower here. But, you know, look at the two supports right now, Bart. It's about a 1,600 gold separation between the two of them, and there's nothing they can do about it.
That's
Sovereignty
half
done versus a steel mail.
Weekend's going to try to make a play here on a stealth. Must be his target, but he's just getting bursted so bad. Forced use of destruction and run from this fight. Jeremy tossing in meatballs, but it's just not the same effect that we've seen earlier. 1 hits. 2 is dead to rights. Weekend tried the old no juke there. Barracuda had none of it. I don't think he's missed a single damage anything yet so far in this game.
No, he's right on point. That's what Barracuda is known for, is that calm, cool accuracy. Root on Allied. No hook coming out just yet. The Gold Fury will be coming up pretty shortly here, just about 55 seconds. The first one went to Prime, and Complexity needs this one so desperately. This is the first match of a best of 5, remember, so there's possible of 2 to 4 more matches after this one, but Complexity can't let this momentum build up.
I'm not sure going into this land that anyone expected the gap between the COG teams and the rest of the field to be this big.
No.
I mean, like kind of, I was saying this a bit yesterday, but we just ran this same event in Europe, and we saw only 1 game out of all of the sets that had 10,000 experience gaps or 6,000 plus gold gaps at any point until the game was ending. And here you're seeing a lot of one-sided games.
Almost all of them.
Yeah, this looks more like online play in terms of how big the disparities are and how differently matched these teams are. Now, this is just game 1 of this best of 5 set. Complexity, they're in a hole here. They do have great late game, but there's a lot of tankiness on the side of Prime to overcome with just 1 Kali.
I think the weak bastion here for Complexity is going to be that Odin. He's still not on the sovereignty, and at this point, he throws out the ultimate, but what can he really do to influence the fight? He's going to trap himself in and die and hope that it's enough for his team to set up, but as we've seen time and time again, and honestly, Prime understands it, right? Hey, they've got an Odin. That's their easy way to win a team fight if we screw up. Let's buy a bunch of Warlock Sashes, a bunch of HP and defense. We live through the spears, Odin dies, and we get a free pick for it.
Yeah, take a look at the Nemesis versus that Kali, right? Both have chin sides, but there's a Jotun's Wrath out of the Nemesis. Kali's obviously building into more attack speed, but that Jotun's Wrath is doing so much work. And, well, left side of the map, it's going to be another Gold Fury going the way of Cognitive Prime. I just don't see Complexity contesting this at all. It's Incon's going to try for the leap, but, yeah, look at that. Ulted over the wall by Andy. No blink for you, and they're going to go in. Annenser's going to go ahead and dive in on Incontinentia. He's going to get ringed in. This is a great opportunity for Complexity here, but that Rom ultimate's doing a lot as well. Andy's just kiting around. Weekend here is going to go toe-to-toe with him. Weekend should be able to secure this kill for himself. In the meantime, though, coming on the backside, there's Omega. Barracuda's quite low as well, but Weekend's going to have a hard time closing the gap in any situation. No, he's got the angle now.
Weekend, what are you doing, buddy?
Oh, now he's running away.
Oh, he's getting out of there.
Yeah, now he's in trouble.
Fight back. Now the rotation comes out. We see Barracuda getting very low there, and that's really what the target was for
that was
Weekend. He wanted it, but he could not actually pick it up. Now, honestly, that was a perfect play from Prime. That Complexity played right into their hands there. You saw the ultimate come out from Nemesis. Putting Incontinentia in combat, could not blink or jump over the wall unless he wanted to go right into his death. Slow in the mid lane, but Kiki is so tanky right now. Not going to be able to take it out on that one. But, Gold Fury still stands as a great play by Prime. They got, a free kill out of it on Jerby. But also was a poor positioning by Jerby. Jerby came in by himself.
He should have, the call was there for Kiki, spotting out that side lane rotation. But level 20, first on the map, is going to go to the side of Omega.
That's right.
Playing the Zhong Kui, not a god that he is really known for necessarily, but has really played quite a spectacular one here so far. The 3 damage items he has put together with the Pen Boots into the Max Stack Warlock Sash and now Spear of the Magus is a very, very they're going to try to win this game around 30 minutes. This is like a we're strong now, let's fight kind of group up and go build.
Right.
Especially considering that he's going to be building into now what appears to be a Magi's, and then he's going to probably follow it up with the route to Hootie. So he's got his path very clearly laid out for him. An Obsidian Shard not going to be making its appearance here with that Spirit of the Magus. Probably going to be going into maybe a Bancrofts for ultimate damage later, or perhaps any kind of maximum steroidal build depending on how far ahead and what they need to make up. But as it looks right now,
ultimate on Allied. There goes
just
the damage coming down from above. The bees might be able to stop from Barracuda. Snipes him out of the air. Anister goes down. Weakens trying to go forward, but what can he do? He's got the destruction active. Can he survive this shot? Back and forth he goes. He's taking the damage. It will not be enough. Weaken will fall. New ultimate coming down. It won't change the outlook of this fight. Jeremy disengaging here. The damage from Crush is huge. Omegatron getting rooted to the ground there by Nuwa with that auto attack.
In the meantime,
damage is all set and done.
Minions take a middle tower for Complexity.
Why not?
Hey, why not? They'll give up the Gold Fury most likely for it. Jeremy doesn't have his ultimate. Jeremy's going to die here if MLC Stealth hits that. Just going to miss. Just going to miss the Crush as well. It's not a fast Gold Fury, certainly. The smoke cloud coming through, ticking away at Barracuda, but he's perfectly happy to take that one
body
up.
blocked with a turret. That was fantastic.
Up in goes Incon, blinks forward, looking for the hog, but he's just a bit too early. Prime does pick that one up, and that, my friends, is the second Gold Fury of the game going to the side of Cog Prime.
They've got it like the crowd is cheering for Prime right now, but Complexity is not down and out just yet. You look at the charts right now, they've held on to their lead, right? You got 6,800 gold in favor of Prime, 13,000 experience, but at this point Complexity still has a good late game to vie for. Nuwa's going to start doing more and more with those fire shards. The explosion from the metal is going to be so much they have to actually back away from it. Allied is starting to activate as well. He's got full sprint. He's looking for the executioner. He's got it completed, 1-4-1, but he's got the damage he needs. The question is, can they actually get a good team fight engagement? It seems like every single time, Prime has been the one to start the team fight, and Complexity the one to fall into the trap, and they need to be very careful with when they engage and what they engage for. If they're not engaged for a purpose, they seem to be falling apart.
Well, most of the fights have been, can we bail out Moozing Cobb? Nope. Oh, too bad. We're already in the fight, right? That's kind of how it's looked on the left side of the map, especially. Important pickups coming on the side of Prime here. It's going to be Witchblades from both the Nemesis as well as the Sylvanas, I think. And that's going to really help at keeping that Kali's hyper carry state, pushing it back a little bit later, and giving them time to win this game. They have maybe 20 minutes left to win it before the Kali can 1v5.
Well, here's the reality, right? Weekend just walked into a lane. He's a level 17 Kali trying to gank a level 20 Rom. I mean, even the Hunter is 3 levels ahead of Weekend. So, they're extending that late game so far. Look at the damage on Jeff Hinla. There goes the MLC Stealth. Crush not going to land either. The card will land on top. They're just throwing everything they have. And honestly, at this point, Complexity is looking for that single target, but no one's an easy choice. I mean, Anister can dash away. Stealth can teleport away. Sylvanas is going to be impossible to kill. Omega's got Heavenly Agility and a ton of HP, plus a teleport.
Heavenly Agility is a really smart pickup there. They're just going to be roaming as 5 now. Might as well pick up that AoE movement speed boost for the team. That aspect of the hold
Kiki.
that thought. Right side lane, Kiki
can't even get up.
He's going to get out. He's going to get out only one way, and that's going to be via death. Snapped him up, Jeremy. You got popped by MLC. He's going to spot out Incontinential, making the rotation as well. Can he hit him with this? No, the leap is forced out, however, but more big plays coming out from Prime around the map. I saw Ionic last game playing Sylvanas, and that was by far the best Sylvanas play we've ever seen in the pro level. Jeff Hinla showing that, this god is legitimate and here to stay.
But Pyrogen has started up here, Bart. They're rotating over. We can try to get the shot of Barracuda. He cannot find it. Can't even pop his ultimate. And there's a rotation. Allied is there. Incon is there. Damage from Ender, so they're going to trap him inside, but they don't really care a whole lot. The damage coming out here is Jumpstone. Incon is out of the fight. The Fire Giant was leashed, however, but honestly, they'll be able to secure it. Now, one of the best things Prime did this game.
Oh, yes.
Is they banned.
Oh, look at Omega. Oh,
is
no,
he really?
The BM. It's so real. Oh, he's going to ult him. Oh, no.
Omega.
No.
He's still alive. There's that Crush coming out here. Stealth might want it. New Walter coming out here. It's not going to kill anyone, but Omega with the BM taunting. You got to love it.
Yeah,
I love that backbait.
That was.
I love it.
Just sitting there. He was taunting him and then started throwing out recalls, letting him reset it.
Boy.
And, unfortunately, Complexity took the bait there. I mean, they tried to fight him. They tried to abuse it, and then they got blown up by the Cellar rotation, dropping another kill on Incon. The captain sitting at level 14 on the side of Complexity. Across the way, Jeff Hinla now has pulled ahead by 3 levels in the support role for Cognitive Prime.
Well, look at it, right? I mean, one of the best things that Prime did this match is they banned out Apollo. I mean, at this point, AMC was so far away, and what are you going to do? Oh, no, I'm caught away from the fight. Let me
well, you can see what they were trying to do there. They were, they wanted the ROM pickup, and they picked the Muzen with that big-time burst and cripple to stop Rom. He relies a lot on his mobility, but he's just had the better of them. Barracuda's been, you know...
Well, AMC can't rotate.
Right, while they close the distance, you try to gank him, he's just putting the shots in. It's just not enough. They can't stay there and eat his ultimate to pick him up when he comes back down. And it's just kind of not worked over and over and over again.
We'll see if they decide to go and change their picks going to the next match. They're grouping up here. Sylvanas might be finding ally. Jeff Hindla is on his way, looking for the root. Can't find it. No movement speed. Remember, all 5 members of Prime have Fire Giant buff right now. I would not even defend this left tier 2 tower. They're looking to hold the line, but it's going to be a hard line to hold as Jeff Hindla is pushing more and more forward, looking for that root hook combination. The tower is down. Another big pickup.
Here comes Zhong as well.
The ultimate.
Yeah, Zhong's gone ahead and moved into that ward. He's going to move to the back line and start pushing them out. Incon's caught out in no man's land. Weakened very low as well, trying to find himself a kill, but he's going to go down as well. Cognitive Prime, they may have enough to win this game right here and now. Coming over the top with the snipes is Barracuda. It's just going to do the damage to Gerbs. Kiki's here. They have a lot of wave clear between these mages, but they're going to have to worry about the blink on the Sylvanas. Moving forward to Jeff Hindla. There's the ultimate on the Jerby. Is there follow-up? Rolling forward is Barracuda. No, not enough. The hook is not going to be there either, and it's just a siege onto the Phoenix, but with 2 members of Complexity alive, this is free.
Kiki is slowed down here. He's got the hook available on Jeff Hindla. Cog's got the push here. The left Phoenix will be falling down. The Gold Fury has respawned, but they still have several minutes left on that Fire Giant buff right now, as the damage buff is going to be, the movement speed buff is going to be secured here by Prime. 20-2. It is a 10x differential in kills right now, and Complexity is really struggling to get on board with this match.
Sylvanas, the only member of Prime not sitting at level 20 at level 18. The experience advantage is almost 25,000, and this is before there's only one player in Complexity at level 20, and Prime still with some room to grow. They're only sitting at about 5 slots, and they just continue to roll forward. I don't see how Complexity keeps them out of the base here.
Well, they're pushing them off the tier 2 tower, which will fall. Only 1 tower remaining here for Complexity. The Gold Fury will be the next in the sights there for Prime as they move back to the middle of the map. Look at that itemization here. Honestly, you know, a lot of utility being built up by Complexity. You've got a Chronos Pendant and a Divine Ruin there for Kiki in the Soul Lane. Doesn't have a whole lot of burst just yet. He's waiting for that penetration to be built up with Obsidian Shard or the Rod. Gold Fury locked in
over
here
2,000 gold in hand on every member of Prime now as they fall back.
Well, they got to go home eventually, right?
Nemesis has gone ahead and foregone finishing off that Curse Blade and picked up a Deathbringer outright.
Well, yeah, oh my god. Sylvanas has Bulwark of Hope. I mean, Jeff Hindla is not messing around right now. Could even finish off that Sona Gaia next for the regeneration, but he is literally just unkillable. You look across the way that Deathbringer, like you were mentioning, I mean, he is, at this point, unpressured by the level of Complexity's damage, and you just, you know, let me get a free crit and pick someone off.
I'm also looking here at Omega. What he's put together on the Zhong Kui is really, really impressive.
It's brilliant.
That Height of the Urchin got to 8 stacks in 2 fights, and that's all thanks to the Heavenly Agility and Teleport Towards actives there. He's able to join all of the fights around the map and stack that item up really, really quickly. Normally, getting that item post 20 minutes, it tends to not be amazing. You're usually sitting on not max stacks, but with the way they're getting kills and him being in every fight, sitting on, he has 6 assists and 3 kills and 8 stacks, which means that he only picked up 1 kill, was involved in 1 kill before he had this item, and has just been playing excellent.
Look at the hook, gonna find Incon in trouble, jumping away. They're still alive, though, at half HP, and that's their initiator. They need to be very careful. Blinking in, there's the ultimate. He's gonna die for this one. The ultimate coming out here from Stealth, gonna drop down. The bomb will land. Incon's still alive. Damage coming out, weakened. They're trying to turn the fight. Prime is backing away here. Incon will be dropping low. Still alive. Won't fall to Barracuda. The damage that goes from Omega through the backside. New off in the air. There's nothing left. Allied goes down. Killing spree for Anister. Jeremy will fall as well. Double kill on the back end of that fight. It is just Kiki or not. He gets the kill, but at what cost?
Well, yeah, they're going to go ahead and pile right on into the base here. And this should be game number 1 going to the way of Prime. They're going to go for the Titan here.
Wow.
They should have enough damage. Kiki with the respawn. He may be able to stun them out. Hog coming through from Jeff Hindla. It's going to be a damage race here. They may be pushed out by Kiki. The minions are sitting, the clay minions on top of the minions. Anderson going to move in, bait out the sun. As the minions go down, they're going to put the damage in. It's going to be enough. The Titan goes down. Complexity wins. Game number 1.
24-3. The damage numbers are off the charts right now, and Cognitive Prime has sent a very distinct and clear message to everyone watching here from around the world. We are a team to be reckoned with, and Complexity better watch out.
Complexity, they have their work cut out for them now going into game 2. I think the good news for them is they picked some unconventional stuff, losing game 1, which means that they didn't pick their very best lineup and still lose. They tried a little bit more of this pocket strat style. They need to get their heads together. You know, you got to brush off game 1. You got to brush off the next game. You got to brush off whatever it is you have to do and start finding those wins. And I'll give you a John Maddenism here, because if you don't win, you lose, and that's how you get knocked out of the tournament.
Yep, that's right. Smite, they're playing great Smite right out here, and this is going to be the day that changes everything. We're looking for one more slot in the World Tournament. We're going to cut over to D and Brandon to break down what happened in the last match. We're going to Kret. Actually, Kret is going to be over there. We're going to go over to him and see what happened in the last match.
All right, guys, we're going to be taking a look at fan favorite Barracuda and one of the great plays of many that he's made in this game. Barracuda will be playing Rom. Let's roll it forward. He's currently tanking the Gold Fury. We'll reset it, goes up in the air, and watch where he's placing these shots, focusing onto Allied. Nice through the wall. Great prediction there, trying to throw the third one. It doesn't quite hit. Targeting onto Weekend, trying to keep his mid laner alive, and he will. Weekend force back, will fall. Barracuda picking that one up with the 180, and that's going to be the end of the play. Let's roll it back, and let's take it once again. Start it up. Barracuda taking the Gold Fury. This forces Complexity to come and fight. He's a little too far to engage manually, so he's going to fire the shots in. Pause it here. Look at that positioning, right? He read Allied like a book. That was the fastest way out. And now he's just going to fire a shot into the ring. He's looking for Incon, wants to get the damage, roll it forwards. And this is just gambling. Doesn't hit it, but hey, that's whatever. Now great target selection. Needs to keep Stealth alive here because Weekend is the hope of Complexity. He has that cascade potential. He can kill 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but he doesn't get it. Great play from Barracuda. Great play all game. And now let's see what F.Dot's got going on with the interview.
Hey there, folks. Tom F. Banninger here, joined one more time by hi-rez APC. We've had a lot of exciting stuff going along here. You plan this stuff, but could you plan the games being this exciting?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, you look forward to these games months in advance, and here we are, who wins, who goes to the Worlds, we don't know. But today's that day. Yesterday was a little, okay, you guys made it to the competition, but are you ready to play against the real competition, which was the #1 and #2 seeds, right? So now here we are today playing against those guys, and we saw in the first game, Dignitas, I think it was a surprise to everybody. I think we were expecting a best of 5, but Cog Red was dominant. So we're going to see them in Worlds. Here we are seeing game 2 now, Cog Prime now ahead with 1. And these games, I feel like Complexity, I'm not just saying it, but I really think Complexity is going to step it up. They were trying something that I don't think they really... they were trying to twist it up a little bit that the opponent won't expect. So now they probably won't go back to their regular game. We came back from Europe last week, and it was a great time, a great show. So coming here again, I was ready for game 2.
Yeah, just really exciting stuff coming out from both sides of the tournament right there. Let's talk a little bit more about the behind-the-scenes stuff, though. Everybody is in the crowd and in the chat really watching what's going on. What kind of work goes into putting on something like this? Because this has been incredible. It's so much fun just to be here.
Yeah. So once game 1 hits, that's my finish line, really. It's like, we made it. We made it to the show itself. The starting point was like, every Tuesday when all the players come in, making sure they come in properly, make sure they get to their hotels, checked in. Then it's boot camp time. I mean, we've seen SK Gaming back in the kickoff land. We saw, what does boot camp do? Makes you win. So like all these teams came in and they all boot camped for days. You talk about your opponent, you talk to other opponents and see how they see it, and really work together. So that was really the big part for me, is making sure the teams are happy, they're primed up to go, and and the casters, the talent, all of them are doing the stage work. So again, once we hit Saturday, it's like, all right, we got it. The game's ready to go. We're at the finish line. Let's watch these games and have a good time with everybody.
Fantastic. And let's just do that. Let's cut to Kelly real quick so we can just cut to those games.
Hello, everyone. I am joined by DM Brandon here at the expert desk, and we're going to talk a little bit about Game 1 and our predictions for Game 2. Now, where did Complexity fall short against Cog Prime in that game?
Don't pick Odin.
That's it? Don't pick Odin?
Please stop. Yes, look, yes, thank you for the clap,
The
Nate.
one clap.
And a few other people. There we go. Odin is bad. Please
All right.
stop.
Can you go a little bit more into that? Why is Odin bad?
I mean, sure, at level 7, he's doing 600 damage to you when he jumps, and if he misses that, he's useless. But late game, that 600 damage is similar to what Thanatos is doing, except Thanatos only has to use 1 move to do it. Odin has to use not only his only escape, but 2 moves, including his shield. He loses all of his defense, he loses his only escape, does a little bit of damage in terms of percent. I mean, if he hits 2 people, you'll take out 20 to 30% off 2 people, and then you just die.
What is Complexity going to have to do? Who are they going to have to focus? What is their strategies they're going to have to change to win a game against Cog Prime?
Number 1 thing, ban Scylla. She's broken. She's completely OP. She's the best mage in the game. She's ridiculous amount of damage. She has ridiculous control. Scylla cannot be played again. MLC Stealth is far and away the best Scylla, and I would never let that through if it were me in the seat.
Then why have we seen that many Scyllas in the SPL, in EU, and NA regionals?
I don't know. Why don't we see Hercules? Why do we keep seeing Odin and Thanatos and all these things? I have no idea.
So you think they're going to have to do a Scylla ban or pick Scylla themselves? Who else do you think we're going to see banned?
I think Jerby did really well. If I was on COG, I think I'd be taking away Vulcan. Honestly, I don't think we saw a huge push from anyone on that team, really. They tried to aim at Weekend. They got to keep Serket down. Serket cannot get through. Scylla cannot get through. And then Odin should not be picked.
All right, well, whichever winner of this team from the best of 5 is going to be going up against COG Red. Who do you think has a better shot at defeating COG Red for the first seed?
Well, right now, I mean, from what we saw, Prime looks incredible. We see a lot of struggle come out of Complexity. I mean, maybe we won't see the AMC Odin nonsense again, and I'm going to harp on it repeatedly because these characters not okay. Skill is very important. Skill will always matter more than tier list, but when 2 players are of equal skill, that tier matters. Barracuda showed it.
I think it's going to be really interesting seeing, and I noticed a lot of very aggressive warding from COG Prime. That seems to be what COG Red was doing as well. What is these early Sentry ward like invasions and placements going on?
You know, we saw a lot of this in Europe. I think the level up in Vision has been just incredible throughout the entire world. I think Europe still has NA's number in that, but we get so much more pressure out of Vision wards, you know, making sure that we can take away their vision. We can control this part of the map. We can control the Goal Fury. We can control mid, and then ganks come out. Honestly, things might have been a little different if Jerby had 15, 20 more damage on that first ultimate. It was max range. It was perfect. And, you know, the Stigma hits Jerb all the time. He hits one of the hardest shots in the game, and he winds up this far away from first blood, and then it just started to spiral. One
thing I noticed is that when Complexity was 1 and 8, they still had the top 3 damage.
Oh, yeah.
Why? How were they behind 7 kills but had more damage than the enemy team?
Because Sylvanas is healing it all back up. They're getting those seals off. Kiki's getting big hits, but you should also remember that Fire Shards hits everyone. I mean, that's important.
It's going to be an exciting game, and I'm going to ask you, who do you think you're going to give it to for game 2?
I think this game will go to Complexity.
All right, well, we're going to find out right now, guys. It is game 2 for Complexity versus Cognitive Prime.